Somewhat of a David versus Goliath story. Astralis looking to take on the Renegades. And it is indeed the Australians that so far have dominated, undefeated in 2019. They haven't dropped a game at starting at the minors of Katowice. This has been incredible. The challenger stage a breeze, and so far now one win away, but they face their toughest task yet, as do our analysts trying to explain this one. I'm actually getting a sense that you guys, of course we're going to be saying Astralis favorites, Astralis best team in the world, Astralis, Astralis, Astralis. We know that. Renegades. Chad.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far here, but I think you might be a little invested in this game because this could be history for the region. Should they not only do it, but do it undefeated, do it versus Astralis. There is a possibility here.
Now, if you want to talk in the realms of have Renegades impressed, are they looking like a solid unit? Are they looking like a very good team in this tournament? Could they potentially make top 8? Yeah. Do they have a chance against Astralis? No. With the maps, the fact of the matter is they have to ban Overpass. You know, that leaves Nuke's going to be in the pool. Astralis are going to pick that. We've seen Renegades play on that map so far. Okay. But taking on Astralis is a whole different beast, right? Renegades would probably pick a map like Mirage. That's a comfort for them. And then coming into the third, anything for Astralis is looking pretty pretty. They're happy with a train. They're just 6-0 Cloud9. If you want to go to Inferno, it's where Astralis is just going to bully you all over the map. So Renegades, they, like I said, to kick the show off, they have a free swing right now. This is just a chance to give it that there's no pressure on them at all.
No pressure, Jacob, but it does seem like this seems like too tall a task from almost every perspective. You're getting to see some of the frags Astralis capable of on screen, not only hard hitters, but strategic masterminds as well.
The best team in the world right now, and there's a reason for it. The consistency Astralis is able to bring into every single tournament is just impressive. Look at the stats right here as well. Sipnik's currently sitting at top of the leaderboard. He only died 10 times in this tournament so far. That's outrageous within 2 matches. So whatever you want to do, deal with it or not, as Chad was saying, Renegades have a free pass right here. If they can pressure Astralis, if they can even take a map off Astralis, that would be a huge achievement. But winning against Astralis right now, it seems a little bit too much to ask for.
2 maps played for Astralis, and they've dropped 6 rounds. That's in total.
Pretty nice, right?
That is incredibly strong start. And we have that veto you were talking about. You said Overpass had to go from Renegades, Chan, and the prophecy has become true. But we end up with Mirage, again, prophecy. Nuke from Astralis, that would be the 29th win.
Just continue it, you know, may as well. Look, I think the thing is, if you wanted to talk about Renegades having a chance, if you wanted to talk about them potentially taking this, they have to win their own pick of Mirage, right? Yeah. But they've had close games on that. You have to think about 16-14 versus FaZe yesterday. They've had other games that are close where it really relied on Gratisfaction and Liaz having some big moments, some like 2v3s. Then you move to Nuke. They have to win Nuke, and that's almost an impossibility at this point.
Well, some better teams have tried, and that's not, of course, bad-mouthing Renegades, but truly, you know, when Liquid were on top form, they gave Nuke a good go, and they did push Astralis. Speaking of Gratisfaction, we can take a look at this AWPing head-to-head. Gratisfaction actually has found himself not necessarily struggling. Of course, the stats you can see, he's been playing ever since the Challenger stage, those stats accumulating there. Of course, Device only playing 2 best-of-1s so far. But it does seem like Gratisfaction, he's a bit hot and cold. He's a bit Katy Perry with that AWP.
I think he's very stable in the way he plays. I think he's a great asset to Renegades. I was a little bit unsure whatever he could be able to fill out that role coming into this team. But for now, I've been nothing but impressed by Gratisfaction. I think he makes a lot of decent plays. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes either. So a very stable player, and that adds some consistency into this Renegades lineup. And that is one of the storylines I do want to highlight out for Renegades so far in this tournament. You said it yourself. They haven't lost in 2019. We're seeing a Renegades that is bringing a consistent high level, and I don't think we've ever seen that, Chad.
If their first loss of the year is deep into February and it's against Astralis, it's a pretty damn solid start, wouldn't you say? Yeah, absolutely. Now, it does look like we're going to be getting them up onto the stage, though, and it's a very important part of all of this. So let's get those teams out, and we can continue to break this down. Isn't that right, Chad?
Yeah, so look, I think as we're looking into this one right here with Renegades going up against Astralis on these maps, we need to just basically set the win conditions for Renegades. Everything has to go right, and not everything has to go wrong for Astralis, but they can't be playing at 100% because 100% is the best team in the world, right? Yeah. Renegades need to pull out all the stops. They need JKS to be able to come in with clutch moments and be hugely impactful. They need Azza to make some really ballsy plays and some good mid-round calls. Jacob needs to be solid, which is standard for him. You know, he's a player who's played in the European region for a very long time now, and now that he plays with this North American-based squad, for him, you know, it's just another day of the office. So going up against a team like Astralis, he's not too phased.
JKS and Azza playing together for so long, now surrounded by Jacob, Liaz, and Gratisfaction on the other side, though, as they do present themselves. It's Astralis. You don't need to hear their names again away from Zonic, their coach, but just a reminder in case you're new here, these are the kings of Counter-Strike currently, and everyone will be setting their sights on them to best them before they get to the academy.
One thing I think could be super interesting to follow within this matchup is the storyline of Astralis and their map pool. Yesterday we got to see them play Train against Cloud9. That was a very convincing win. And when we talk about Astralis, we're trying to find weaknesses within their game. We're trying to find weaknesses within their map pool. Train is often being brought up. That was absolutely dismantled yesterday. They have no problems playing that map. Now Mirage is the other one they have been struggling on, and we're gonna see Mirage being played out against the Renegades. As you said, Chat, they were able to best face. Not a bad team on Mirage at all. So we're gonna see a little bit of a Mirage coming out from Astralis, and we're going to see whatever that is a map that some of the other teams maybe can punish Astralis on coming into the best of 3 and coming into the playoff, where we do expect Astralis to be no matter what.
So question 1 from our analysts, and Jacob in particular, Mirage, where is it at for Astralis? We don't know how 2019 Mirage looks because they often picked it and often it looked shaky, perhaps a development of a map over the tail end of 2018.
Yeah, sure. This is the map that's the most figured out, right? Everybody understands the meta. Everybody knows all the smokes. Everyone understands the very basics of a map like Mirage, and that's why it's so competitive, because it comes down to all the mid-round situations. It comes down to those 2v3s, those post plants, those clutch scenarios, and those are the rounds that start becoming 50-50, right? So sure, Astralis will win the fundamental battle, but when the games get scrappy, when a map like Mirage comes into play, anybody can take it to them, and you've seen that. You know, you've seen them be pushed by a lot of names over time, and they're still able to get it done, which is what actually makes them so scary, is when it's a level playing field, they're still actually able to pull it out of the back pocket.
And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if Renegades is able to push Astralis a long way in this first match. I think it could be a double-digit number from Renegades, and I think it could be a close one. And I think just having faith in the way Renegades is playing right now should be enough for themselves to believe that they can go toe-to-toe with Astralis, especially on a map like Mirage. Because I do see, and I do feel we've seen some weaknesses coming out from Astralis, especially on their CT side. We even had a period of time where Device was not AWPing. It was Dupree, because he didn't feel like AWPing on CT side Mirage. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that Astralis and that Mirage match.
Just to note, Renegades, even if they do lose the pistol, they love to go for that force buy, right? They like to take the fight to their opponents.
I swear they convert a lot of them.
Yeah, and they have a very good track record with that, which is a good sign because it means they're not scared of their opponent. You know, they're not feeling, oh, we'll take a save and then we'll get to the full gun round situation. They want to take the fight to them as early as possible and keep that economy potentially under their control. So if they go for that here, that could either be make or break for them early. If you do that, you know, you lose that first gun round, your economy can spiral, but they will be starting on the T side of Mirage, which actually isn't too bad. You know, be happy with that. They get to set the tone, they get to set the pace, and as I already mentioned, they are such a stark underdog here.
And that percentage, the percentage up on screen, they're actually the team with the highest T-side win percentage. That's incredible.
Against an Astralis team that currently is struggling a little bit with the CT side. This is why this could be a very interesting matchup. As you said, some of the win conditions coming in for Renegades is going to have to be those 2 versus 2 and 3 versus 3 scenarios.
Okay.
The problem for them is that Sipnix currently is in a good shape. We've seen it just before with the stats page coming up. I think he's 39 and 10 death for the tournament so far, and he's often left in those 2 versus 2 and 3 versus 3 situations, and there's no better player to be in that position than Sipnix. So you got to find a way to shut him down or bully him in the beginning of the round, so he's not being able to come in and do that.
If I was Renegades, I'm trying to find Zipnix before the rounds even started.
Exactly.
I don't want him the last man standing, I'll tell you that.
Something else to look at here is, we've already mentioned it, but Astralis have only lost 6 rounds in this entire tournament so far. So if they get pressured, if they get pushed, if they get, you know, maybe, you know, feeling like the Renegades can take the fight to them, we know the resolve of this team. They don't have any issues, but in this tournament, they actually haven't been pressured. So we get to see how they react if they do get pressured. But like I already mentioned, this is just such a tall task for Renegades. Alex, I don't see the way in.
It is a very positive sign, though. Smiles across the board for Renegades. They know the odds are stacked against them. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. It is truly the David versus Goliath story. We'll see if David can triumph in the same way he did. This time, of course, Renegades taking on Astralis. Let's find out. We start on Mirage. Analysts suggest this is the Aussies' best chance to take a shot at the #1. Your casters are locked and loaded as well. And a very special introduction. Trace Stanasarenthis and Sean Gares.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richardson and company. That's right, Astralis and the Renegades here on Mirage, and it's going to be, well, it could very well be a bloodbath here if Renegades can continue that form, going ahead of themselves and already finding themselves some marginal success here at the Intellisys Stream Masters. Sean?
Yeah, it feels good to be here at JKS in the halls right now in the Palace with a smoke flash. It looks like they're trying to make a small presence towards the B site as a holding top mid, and the bomb is A ramp.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be some sort of like late A play here, given I guess how they're structured already. Obviously, there's been a lot of emphasis here from Astralis over there towards the B site, and Liaz being the first victim. The fight ensuing in middle, and Azur continuing what form he's as shown here in the tournament thus far. And very much worthy of noting that the Renegades have made quite the name for themselves here in Katowice, but it does look like the A hit is on now for the Renegades. And leading that charge is going to be Gratisfaction and Jacob. Getting this bomb would be a success all on its own. Planning it is another story. But that peak there is going to not prove to hold any results. JKS finding one, Azur with another. And this one has, in fact, gone in the way of Renegades. Device on 1 HP. Not a whole lot he can do in this situation except for get the hell out of Dodge, Sean.
Yeah, and they mentioned it on the desk, but Renegades has had a tremendous amount of success in the early game of all of their matches so far, either winning the pistol or the second round force-up. Here they come out with yet another innovative pistol. The smoke coming through the palace to block off jungle. The smoke, I mean, the plant going 4 CT with a player guarding him with a P250. Very well thought out round right there from the Renegades.
Yeah, and you know, they almost made it look easy, and it looks like they want to take these or at least this little bit of armor here from Device. They're going to do just that. In fact, all members of Astralis falling. You can see Kassad there. Trying to keep this high intensity, this high octane pace on par. Because of the Renegades, well, certainly the underdog in this equation. I don't think anyone in the world would refute that. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Renegades 5-0 in the major, Trace.
Can you believe it?
Best team in the world.
Yeah, I think that's what we're running with here. Something about, yeah, the boys and, you know, the upside down and down under and everything in between. But now we're going to see quite a bit of weaponry come out on their side. They're going to have 3 AKs here, Galil and an ump. Astralis, 2 P250s to the name. Trying to save that little bit of money so they can maybe get some guns going here in a couple rounds, but wouldn't put it past them to find success.
And here you see Renegades just kind of spreading the map, trying to get a feel for Astralis' setup. They don't know yet that Astralis is saving this round, so they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. But this should be a fairly easy round for Renegades. They are pushing all of the rotations from Astralis into that A site with those 2 smokes. And now they're going to get an easy B take.
Yeah, they find themselves all the way up catwalk. That gamble of the A stack is not going to pay off at the moment there for Astralis. Ziphex is going to be the first to fall to the hands of JKS. Mr. Savage getting on the board now. And the relative ease there, the Renegades do get the bomb planted, and not a whole lot Astralis could have hoped to have done in this round, other than have Renegades go A and walk right into their crossfires.
Yeah, and I really like the start Renegades are having to this match. A lot of misdirection on both rounds so far. First pistol round, they showed presence at B, ended up going A. This round, they showed presence at A, end up going B, and they're just pulling the Astralis to the opposite sites and basically getting sites, you know, on full retake.
Yeah. Now the money's going to start to stack there, but we've yet to see a buy until now. Astralis, 3 AUGs, of course. That's how we're working these days, Sean.
If you're not buying an AUG, Trace, you are not trying hard enough.
Yeah, you know, I think that's what the ancient proverb does say. I think you are onto something. Renegades up 2-0 early on. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters. Katowice Major of 2019. We're now going to see some weaponry on the side of Astralis. This will be the real test as to what they're bringing to the table here against the Renegades.
And Astralis with their famous top mid-smoke aggression right here. 3 Astralis members fighting for mid.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's all gone wrong there in the beginning stages of this round. They're just picking them apart piece by piece. JKS getting 1, finding 2, finding a 3rd. Big kills there. Not going to be enough, but it does hold them in the round just a little bit longer. Gratisfaction with the ump. Finding himself in top middle, having traded that out for the AK. Does have just a little bit of utility to work with, but minus 60 health. And now splitting between Device and Dupree. He's going to have to work on some sound cueing here in a second. Device working himself up towards that A ramp. It's going to prove to put himself in this weird angle that maybe Gratisfaction can't smell out, but he does. In fact, the first contact is there. A little bit of damage on both sides. A little bit more damage to Gratisfaction. And in fact, Device has laid down the Scunion.
Yeah, you feel for Gratisfaction right there. He played that so well, showed his shadow, tossed a jiggle peek, caught Device with the flash, and Device just ends up using the USP to take him out in the end. I like the initial look from Renegades here. This was definitely a set A piece with JKS coming halls, Leah's at the ramp. Very Cloud9-esque, actually, from the E-League Major. But Astralis' mid control proves to be way too strong for them that round.
Yeah, Renegades taking a timeout now. They don't want to see this one slip too much in the way of Astralis. They know the powerhouse that is this Danish lineup. Of course, losing that gun round is not the end of the world, but they want to make sure they set a good pace here. They want to kind of control the tempo as best as they can. We're going to see some more weaponry coming out on their side. JKS actually keeping the hopes alive in that round with the big 3K, but the man can only do so much.
He has won 100% of his entry duels in the Legend stage.
That's because he's a savage.
It really is a shame that he's not using that as his alias.
Yeah,
right?
that is the biggest miss of all time, I think. I've noted that once or twice, but I completely agree, Mr. Gares. Now, the mid-aggression here from Glaive, pushing all the way up. The mid-control is not going to be coming out on the side of Renegades. In fact, as it stands, Glaive is set up in a pretty good position here to get himself maybe one or two. Instead, Dupree is going to find those two himself. Liaz and Azur find the end of the round earlier rather than later. Now leaving it up to JKS, Jacob, and Gratisfaction. And they have been stopped in their tracks by what is a smoke.
And again, Astralis fighting for this mid control with their top mid smoke. Renegades looks to want to fight with them for that battle in the early part of this match, and they're not winning it at all so far.
It's a scary thing to think about. This peak is going to come out just in time, or perhaps they can skate by here on Catwalk. Not going to be the case. Device finds two with ease there with the AUG, as expected, leaving JKS by his lonesome. 56 HP, a flash, AK, head armor, and a dream.
You can see Renegades came into this game with a game plan set. That first pistol round, obviously, pre-thought out. First gun round, they want to do that A split. And here it looked like they were gravitating towards that B bomb site, but they were trying to use mid, and yet again, Astralis defending mid. And I hate to say it, but this is right where you want to be if you're an in-game leader, destroying the other team's mid takes 2 times in a row.
Yeah, not letting them dictate that middle area. And there's a lot of freedom of movement that can come out of there. And the movement of JKS is not going to be swift enough. Glaive ending out the round, and Astralis starting now to mount some. 2-2 the score line. And I think what we really have to look at this is Renegades can't just kind of, fold in and play reserved and be scared to take peeks. I mean, up to this point, what they've been doing has worked. And if they start playing into Astralis' game, well, I think we all have a look in as to how that might turn out.
Yeah, I do think they played a little bit more loose in their other games when I watched them. JKS was usually solo towards that A site. These are more set pieces. They probably were trying to get a little bit anti-shrouding in the early parts of this game. Nothing really has worked out for them, so we'll likely see them go back to just, a standard default or maybe just a sight hit on this next gun round.
Well, here on this round, it's going to be 5 Glocks and Flash. Now, if that's not optimistic thinking, I'm not sure what is. Zipx getting the first bit of contact there towards the B halls. And the first bit of damage onto Liaz. Ball completely in Astralis' court at this moment. Having all that weaponry, all the utility to work with in the world. Renegades with a soul flash and not really anywhere to go.
Yeah, and for all those at home wondering, why they're just spreading out the map, delaying all this time, the theory behind it is, as Ts, you kind of let the CTs use a little bit of utility, smoke their spots, molly, basically waste some nades so that way next round they'll have to buy it up because you probably don't plan on winning this round if you're on the T side.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment, Mr. Gares. I think you're onto something, but that flash is going to find utilization right about now over the A bomb site as, well, all 5 members of the Renegades are postured here. Ready to take it. 3 are going to be coming out the palace area, and Device getting the spray down on a 1. Zipx also chiming in, and it looks as though this has all gone horribly wrong for the Renegades. Of course, their hopes could have only been so high. And a 3rd round on the board for Astralis. And this is where things start to get a little scary if we start talking about the bankroll of Astralis.
Yes, Astralis has not had many deaths in the last few rounds, as you were alluding to right there. And here we have the 4 AUGs in play in the AK-47 on Glaive, which came from the upgraded UMP earlier.
How's it make you feel, Sean?
Just AUG Strike 2019 out here.
Yep, AUG Strike. I don't think we could have coined that one any better, right? Renegades looking for a fighting chance in this round. They do have 5 AKs. A little bit of utility there, 3 smokes to be exact, and numerous flashbangs. as of now setting up their way to go into this A site, and should an opportunity present themselves, you probably can count on them to go ahead and execute as such. The smoke's coming out there towards Ticket, and it looks like Renegades want to challenge this A sites. They have, in fact, smoked off all of the ways and the choke points in which they could be caught in a crossfire, except for this cheeky little peek right here by Device. Could prove to be disastrous. They have gotten into the site, though. JKS there.
They're not moving
halls.
quick enough right now, Trees.
Yeah, they're not. In fact, they're going to get the bomb down. Did take them just a little bit of time, Liaz being the only casualty in the round thus far. And now with the bomb planted, Astralis on the retake, 5 alive.
And the player to watch here is Azza, who's rotating back around to mid, but I don't know if he's going to have time for this.
And that's a long trek to take. The bomb being planted there. Azza going to be the saving grace in this round. Gratisfaction falls. JKS can't get anything done. And now Azza realizes it's all in vain. Not anything that he can do in this moment. And 5 players for Astralis remain alive as they put a 4th on the board and get that defuse. Azza, the timing, unfortunately, was not there for him to do much. The idea was there, though.
I mean, if his teammates got a couple kills, he may have, went for that. But when all of his teammates are dead and all the CTs are just looking around, it's kind of like that little kid playing hide and seek with their shoes showing under the curtains, Trace. It's pretty obvious where you are at that point.
You had a plan, but I see you. You're right there, actually. Astralis in that money will begin to build up. That has been the storyline of Astralis for over the past year now. Netting themselves quite a few prizes and coming into here as one of the big favorites. I think that's the storyline that's been driven home time and time again, and rightfully so. They have more than earned that.
And this is the first round Astralis didn't show that top mid aggression on a buy from Renegades, and the reason being is because they sense the low buy, and they want to play 2 people in this B site. It's the perfect read, the perfect nade.
Out.
And this is going to be very difficult for Renegades.
Yep, Zipex here, gonna go ahead and try to reinforce what is Astralis, finding one. Can he find a second? He does indeed, looks for a third, but they're a little timid to come out of smoke, and he grabs a third, a fourth. Can he grab the ace? Just finish him off, do it. You know you want these Zipex. Can't find the spam through the smoke. It's gonna be Gratisfaction. Dupree stealing it. And just like that, Zipex, he's the GOAT.
He is, he's actually the top performer so far at the event. Yes, he's only played 2 best of 1s, and yes, one of them was a 16-0, so we can't really...
That's a rough one.
I mean, the data has been a little bit muddied, I'm not going to lie, but he has something like a 1.8 rating in his 2 games. Absurd.
Yeah, and you can see another timeout coming in here from Renegades as to be expected. They know that this will begin to spiral downhill. They know that it will begin to snowball out of control. Especially, I mean, we could talk about money all day. We're looking at 5 figures over there on the side of most of the players on Astralis. That's not going to help the case, but this is certainly the precipice of a gun round for Renegades.
Device could easily buy several more pairs of those Gucci sliders.
Several more pairs. In fact, would hop on his Gucci slides and ride the ranges, indeed. Could be on the cards.
Yes, indeed.
Zipex making it look easy, but now weaponry out here for the Renegades. Gratisfaction with his AWP. He's going to try to get something going in the way of Renegades for what has slowed down to a grinding hold. The mid-control there from Glaive.
Fighting for mid still happening from Renegades. They refuse to give this battle up. You can see Astralis kind of feigning pressure on mid now. Glaive making a presence top mid just to make Renegades scared. They'll probably have to actually use a molly to clear out those top mid boxes here.
Yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, the battle here for mid is right upon us, but I don't think either team wants to fall victim to the other one first, obviously. And using utility here, Astralis is going to push the Renegades back just a little bit, keeping them at bay. Basically, at this point, Astralis can do whatever it is that Astralis wants to do.
Yeah, and it looks like Renegades is going for a delayed mid take as they're throwing another top mid smoke now. This is very good. They baited the utility out of Astralis, and now they're going to take it late round for free pretty much.
Yeah. Device set up here in this window room could be that thorn in the side to the Renegades. Imagine that, well, no one's currently holding it from the looks of it. Smoke going up in there in connector. Jacob trying to find his first frag of the game thus far. And should Device peek middle now, prove to be a disaster, and he does just that. However, he's only able to net 1 for Azur. Somehow goes down in a flame of fury there together. Zipex trying to clean up on Catwalk, finds 2, and what has been the anchor over here at the B site is going to continue to do just that. And a gun round having not gone very far, Mr. Gares.
No, but Zipex actually, he held that site perfectly. I think Renegades had a very good approach to this round, throwing that top mid smoke early, baiting out all the utility from Astralis, re-smoking top mid, taking mid for free, mauling Device out. Everything was so methodical and well thought out there from Renegades, but Xyp9x dancing around, the van and the pillar, and I mean, what can you do about that?
Well, I guess at that point, it's, we've gone past fist bumping and high-fiving. We're actually elbow bumping now, as you saw on the screen. This is turning out to be a lot of trouble here. I mean, Sean, I'm going to just ask you in a bigger picture here. If you're the Renegades, what is it that you can do in this moment, maybe going into the next gun round?
I mean, it seems like every time Renegades throws a top mid smoke or feigns any kind of mid pressure, Astralis fights for it. So if I were Renegades at this point in the match, I would fake a mid control into like scrimming out the A bomb site through the smoke at ramp or running out of Palace, because no one has really been looking at those extremity sites.
Yep, we're going to see the boost come out from the Renegades in this moment. JKS finding the first frag there with the Deagle on a Magisk. And the damage has been done over onto the side of Renegades. However, in a 4 versus 4 with even strength numbers, I don't think that they're going to know that Jacob is set up here in this window room, and Dupree is going to be right there, getting 1D to the dome. Easy as that. He does grab an op there for the utilization of the Renegades and won't stay alive very long. In fact, it won't see a single shot be fired as Glaive is cleaning him up now. And what was not exactly a round structured for the Renegades to win. Now 1 versus 2. Lias, 35 HP, and AK, and dead.
Yeah, they weren't really expected to win that round, like you said, but it is good that Jacob has entered the game because he was their top performer that got them to this point in the Legend stage. Surely, JKS has played huge roles in the Challenger stage, but these last few matches, Jacob has looked phenomenal.
He has, but in this matchup, it's not been super awesome statistically speaking. Jacob with 1 frag, 2 assists, and Liaz also with 1 frag. These are guys that are going to need to step up and get into this game right about now. That would be probably a pretty good time to start. Mid control yet again here from Astralis. And they're going to try to fight through this Molotov. Glaive finding 1, can't get a 3rd. Gratisfaction is going to end that streak before it even begins. Dupree there to support with AWP, and he's going to try to play a little bit more conservative here as to not lose that in middle for no real reason. But success has been found early on in this round, Sean.
Indeed, yeah. Astralis keeps throwing that top mid smoke, keeps mauling behind it, and Renegades is calling their bluff, which... and they're losing that battle every time. So Astralis taking control of mid yet again. And I'm not going to lie, I would have been wrong with my call as well because 2 people were in the A site instead of just 1. The B site would have been the only opening for Astralis right there, and you would have had to rush the site.
Yeah.
Which not many people do on a full gun round.
Yeah, and it's not something that you're going to hedge your bets on here if it's against Astralis as well, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've tried to go B time and time again, and Xyp9x is just there to destroy you. And Device will be losing this op battle. Now we have a little bit of a round on our hands. Just about 45 seconds left on the clock. Magisk set up there and sandwich, but yes, you're right. JKS needs to find that frag. In fact, Gratisfaction will be the one that does find it. First and foremost in the round, now turning in the way of the Renegades. The bomb will be planted. It'll be JKS, Gratisfaction, and Liaz to defend this plant. Xyp9x trying to get sneaky, does find the kill on the Liaz, but he will be cut down by the AWP of Gratisfaction. Now Dupree is dead. And the round on the board for the Renegades. Yeah, Gratisfaction coming up in that round. Huge.
Ace. I cannot believe he got the sandwich kill, let alone that last kill, backpedaling back towards the A ramp. Stops on a dime.
It's got to be something to do with the mustache. Like, I really think that kind of also plays into what's going on here. It takes some real kahunas to jump over into sandwich like that, Sean.
It does. A lot of kahunas, Trace.
All of them, in fact, is a 3rd round on the board for the Renegades. Could be the bounce back. Don't want to say it too early.
Here's that same A set piece we saw earlier. I believe our 4-man Asa was faking a mid control, so trying to get Astralis looking at mid, but there's still 2 people in the A site, and a quick rotate from jungle here.
Yeah, they're gonna flood out onto this A site. Gonna find some resistance though, and even trades now. Jacob now. Big frags here from both JKS and Jacob, 3v3. Bomb is finding its way into the site. That smoke is gonna keep Glaive at bay. The spam finding the bomb planter. And Azur will, in fact, fall with the bomb there in the site, leaving Jacob and Gratisfaction in a very, very awkward position. They've got to now get this bomb and get the plant, but in doing so, Gratisfaction falls victim to Device's AWP. Jacob with 8 HP, and well, he's about to face Glaive here. He's not a happy camper. Not happy at all. He's actually going to fall. Jacob now with a chance. Very low HP again, and he knows he's got to reposition himself. He knows he's got to re-attack this round from a different way and perhaps get one more pick here. But Astralis are not the type of team to give up picks in these situations. They're not going to play in that sort of play style where they can be punished and lose a 1v2. They're going to play a little bit more methodical and smart. Device not having moved from that frag just a second ago. Somehow, Jacob grabs the bomb. Will actually be going for the plant now. Does indeed grab it.
He's managed to throw a molly to single. Oh, the molly bounces off of
Not enough, Mr. Garrett.
the tiniest pixel up in the air.
Yes, and he held it together as long as he could, but ultimately, Astralis do come out the better. Device, very instrumental in that round.
So many little notes on what Astralis does well. Glaive falling back in CT spawn, and no patch is going to stop this man from getting frags through smokes.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't want to say it, but I think you're onto something, Sean.
Device holding off the catwalk angle to prevent, the triple box plant, as well as the plant opposite of default. Glaive holding CT spawn. The little things Astralis does well. It's just so difficult to win those 3-on-3s against this squad.
Yes, the mustache smash, as they call it. But in this round, it's going to be little to nothing to work with on the side of the Renegades, Sean.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too worried as of yet if you're a Renegades fan. They have 3 rounds on T side. We've seen crazier stuff happen so far at this major. It's been such a CT-heavy event so far. The AUGs obviously reigning supreme time and time again. So this isn't a terrible start for them, but I do believe they're going to need a couple more rounds, Trace.
That's right, Astralis versus Australia. Here they are, fighting for mid control. Only pistols on the side of the Renegades. And Glaive, knowing this, doesn't want to get punished for pushing up too far.
Glaive, an actual intellectual using the M4.
Yes, actual very studious and Renaissance man. Groundbreaking technology here as the M4 has come out for Glaive, and well, he's going to find himself in a pickle there if he doesn't get out, and he has elected to do so. They're going to back off middle, give it up to Renegades. Kind of bottleneck them here in this middle area. Dupree finding the first little bit of success there with the AWP on a JKS, and another shot ringing out. Unable to do anything with that, and he's going to be punished for it. Peeking just a little bit too far. Azur's going to take him out before he's traded on. And Device somehow securing 2 frags there. Make it 3 with the Deagle. And that, my friends, is very, very dirty indeed.
Yeah, and that'll put him at 17-4 right now. Just absolutely dominating the game. Doing such a strong job holding middle as well as rotating to that A site during those set pieces that Renegades keeps running. And if you're Renegades right now, I don't know what the play is for you. You've tried what seems like everything. I think they might have to go with a very, very late mid-control, similar to what they did several gun rounds ago, and try to come up connector towards the A site. The standard A hit's not working out well for them. The fast mid-control's definitely not working out for them. So they're going to have to adjust here.
They're going to have to do something, and as another timeout comes in, they have 1 remaining. Renegades certainly not having found a viable answer just yet, but we are going to see some weaponry out on their side this time, as well as utility to support that. Should they figure out what the game plan is that is successful? As it stands, looks like they're going to try to potentially sort of default this round out. Azur putting utility there in mid, and that smoke has proven to be what has backed them off every round in middle. Astralis continuously throwing it, and well, you're about to get peeked there. Magisk finding 1.
He did spot the bomb, though, so you're going to see a heavy rotate coming out of Astralis right now. All 4 players running towards this A site.
That's right, they're all going to be rotating in now. This is not going to get any easier as the seconds pass by. Renegades here in a 3v4. Azur taking quite a bit of damage, 3 HP. They're getting picked apart here before they can even cross into the site. Jacob, not a thing to be done for you there, as another buy round on the board goes dismally for the Renegades. 10 up, Astralis, and 3 on the side of Renegades. Money now in shambles for the Australian-New Zealand team.
Yeah, and these rounds that Astralis are winning, they're not bringing you any confidence if you're Renegades. Not at all. 7 out of these 10 rounds have been with 4 or 5 people alive on Astralis.
And bear in mind, if you're just joining us, this is a 2-0 match. Your eyes do not deceive you. The Renegades have powered through the Swiss system thus far, and meeting Astralis, certainly no one's going to think the lesser of them for taking an L here, I suppose, but it's very early on. We've yet to see the CT side of the Renegades. Device finding 3 off a catwalk there. Fighting out top mid. That bomb will have dropped in what was, for the most part, a save round with just a few pistols purchased from the Renegades. Liaz will be the last one left alive in the B halls, and it's only a matter of time before he eats the bullets of Zipex, or perhaps finishes him off. Just like that, Zipex has fallen. Finds another one on Device. This is good, but again, not really doing any damage to the economy that Astralis has already set in place. Dupree's gonna round that round out itself.
I will say, Trace, if I'm Device, I'm writing thank you cards after this game for all of the eco frags Renegades are sending his way. Because
yeah, I mean, everybody loves a good
he's
stat
looking
pack.
great on these eco rounds.
Yeah, and he's looking so great that it brings him up to 21 frags, 5 deaths. Mr. Gares rocking 131 ADR. It appears, though, he is painting quite a picture for himself in this slaughter.
Even he's a little bit pleased.
He seems very pleased, yes. Great observation. Now the guns again. Here, let's see what the Renegades can do in the last round of the half. Round 15 on the board with only 3 so far to the side of the Renegades.
For those of you at home wondering, why Renegades picked this map, surprisingly, this is one of Astralis' worst maps, guys. They only have an 83% win rate on it in the last 3 months. So,
Only.
yes. This is Renegade's best map, though. I would rate them very highly on this. It's just Astralis is a whole nother beast compared to the 5 teams, I guess 5 teams they've defeated so far.
Yeah, and their path to this point can't be dismissed. But again, this is Astralis. This is a powerhouse. This is the big dog on the block that you don't want to necessarily mess with because it will bite you. And Glaive will bite first in this round, finding successfully a frag there onto Jacob.
Glaive molded in those smokes.
Has spent many times in and around or on the other sides of those smokes.
Yes. Has a about to get popped in the side of the head by Glaive. Outstanding off angle by him.
Yes. And 3v4 is the situation at hand. JKS, Gratisfaction, and Liaz. Gratisfaction finding one there on the Zipex. Majisk and Glaive mopping up, doing a little bit of cleaning up around the house, as it does look like Gratisfaction is the only player remaining alive. Well, finding this one kill in Dupree does go a long way. However, that timer has ticked down, and so has his health points, as he does find himself eliminated, and that half going very much in the way of Astralis. 12-3 your scoreline. And we're going to go on to a quick break. We do come back. We do have the conclusion of this first match here in Mirage. Katowice, lovely city indeed, and specifically, more importantly, I should say, is for that of the Intel Extreme Masters. We do have a 2-0 match on our hands here, and Astralis certainly setting a presence and a tone. Welcome back for just joining us. My name is Trace Saranthus. You might know me as Stunna, or you might know my co-commentator here is Sean. Don't call me Sean Gares.
Yes, indeed, Trace, who got his name from the hit song #1 Stunna.
You know, debatable, but I can, yeah, okay, whatever.
Quick fun fact about that first half. Leah's total damage 330, Glaive's utility damage 394.
Ouch. Now, you want to talk about touchdown passes. The John Elway of the server is here, but not in this round. So far, Dupree has been eliminated in the pistol round. That's very B-sided here for the Astralis T side. Trying to get their way out of halls, but they're finding pretty stiff resistance here. Gratisfaction with 2 huge kills, 3, and JKS with the cleanup. And that's going to be a pistol round in the way of Renegades in a very, very much needed fashion. Having ended that half 12-3, Sean, that was certainly needed to kind of get the ball rolling back.
Yeah, and that's the Renegades we saw all throughout the Challenger stage and so far in the Legend stage. This dominant pistol round team, strong CT side. Let's see if they can keep that up. Astralis is going to give them the second here, it looks like, by full saving. So should be another round coming Renegades' way.
And again, these are huge rounds, every single one of them for the Renegades. It's quite the mount to climb here. And they're not even halfway up. 12 rounds for Astralis, 4 for the Renegades. Pistol round having gone the way of the Renegades. And now Astralis with no utility and 5 Glocks. And really just looking to, I'd say, get anything going here. This would be a miracle round to win, or perhaps a throw of a round if you're the Renegades. Nade reigning supreme there on the Magisk, and this one should go pretty handedly, Sean.
You say that, Trace, but I've watched Renegades lose one of these rounds, actually, against NIP. So
anything is possible is what you're saying.
Literally anything is possible, but they have magic. And Astralis just has a bunch of star woo-woo stuff going.
Stars and, like, you know, constellations and all the other stuff that goes on up there in the big sky that we know nothing about. In this moment, we do know that they are being eaten alive here by the weaponry of Renegades. JKS finding 2, and JKM also getting on the board, leaving Zipex all on his little lonesome here. He does have a Glock. Spot one down there at the bottom of middle, but I think he knew as soon as he fired his first shot that that was not going to pan out well, and rightfully so. A full save from Astralis gives them plenty of money now going forward into this round, and I would not be surprised to see the AKs come out, and they have indeed.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, we're going to get to see Astralis do some crazy strat, likely, that they've brought to this major for this specific moment. I don't know what they're going to start this match with. I highly doubt it's just a absolute standard mid-control. It's probably going to be something with a twist. We're going to see a cat smoke come from Zipex and a top mid smoke, I believe, from Magisk.
Contest for mid continues going into the second half. Utility having been used, and Jacob is cheating himself up there into the ramp. He's going to be that first point of contact, or perhaps the second point as the swing there. JKS will be the first point of contact.
Looks like Astralis might want to boost someone in the window this round, and that's going to be on Gratisfaction to hold that.
Now the opposing smokes here are going to set up for a very, very interesting time in the fight. That is the Battle of Connector 2019. That boost is true, Sean Gares. It's like you're a wizard. Gratisfaction will be on the receiving end of the wand. Dupree finding the AK frag, finds a second as well before JKS can silent him, and now that plan for A ramp has gone into shambles. Two members here that are going to try to take it. They're doing it with ease. Zipex finding that frag. Don't worry, though. There's still an AUG in play, but not for long. JKS falls at the hands of Magisk, and it leaves Liaz with the ump in jungle. He's going to get smoked off. He does have an AUG, though.
He does, so anything is possible, Trace.
Anything is possible, and a little bit of damage there and around. I guess that smoke will do just a little bit. Won't be enough, though, and as he tries to escape, the fate that is Astralis, he is silenced.
I will say, Renegades had the correct read there. They stacked 4 people towards that A site, but you could tell the way Gratisfaction peeked the window room when he got caught off by Dupree. He's actually looking for someone in the ladder room, and the reason being is because he has no eyesight. He has no information on if the T's have gotten up catwalk.
Now, interesting fact for you is, well, we do have guns on both sides now, but Scout and Gratisfaction rather than the Op. Device has won 4 of 4 opening duels and has over 120 ADR, and rightfully so. He's been pretty much stat padding all of that first half, 21-9. Wow. And now, Glaive will get on the board with the kill, the opening kill of the round. Gratisfaction being put out.
Boys and girls, that is the hard counter to someone putting out the window smoke with a molly. I haven't seen anyone do something like that. That was an incredible individual play by Glaive.
Do you think that kind of hurt his feelings as it transpired?
I think Gratisfaction probably thought, I'm going to win this round because he put out that smoke. Then he... nope, not this round, bud.
Not this round, bud, because the B hit is on, and Astralis do look a little bit angry. Magisk finding the opener. Azure looking to get 2, can't seem to do that. Zipex will find it with the AUG, and now it's JKS and Jacob.
And again, another pretty good read by Renegades. They're reading the situations well. They had 2 people in that B site, despite losing a man early. Most teams might opt to actually, cheat a man over to the window and play 1B. So they had the correct read. It's just Astralis is getting these entry frags, and the sites are spiraling out of control.
Yes, the spiral, that is Astralis. That most teams do find themselves riding down.
The opposite direction, though, because
yeah,
down under and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, yeah. Does make sense, Sean.
Yes.
The science checks out. And Jacob might be checking out of this round if they sniff him out here in the CT spawn. We're going to get a cutaway, but the fight will ensue, and JKM does find the kill on the Zipex, so he's able to keep that gun into the next round, but for what it's worth, Astralis looking pretty here as round 14 is now on the board. 5 for the side of Renegades, and well, a prayer, I don't think is in order, but perhaps something stronger.
Yes, prayers to the kangaroo gods, because it looks like Renegades is only going to bring 2 weapons into this round, 3 USPs on the board. They're going to need a play coming out of JKS here.
They're going to need something, and that's something in that time. It all has to happen now. They don't want to find themselves on map point. Astralis again sitting on 14, and I think that they can feel the sort of command that they have in this matchup. Device having snuck all the way up there in the connector with the AWP. That's going to make things just a little bit dicey here. It's Azure, Gratisfaction, and JKS are there as the lone defenders of this A bomb site.
Again, Renegades has the right read on the bomb site.
They have found Device and Connector, though, and for what it's worth, they are able to take out Dupree and sort of all the action. Molotov not landing in enough there into the corner, so it would appear as though...
You hate to see that.
Yeah, that second one, you can't really account for that, can you? Jacob and Azure left alive here, and Jacob with the big flank. This could prove to be a pretty big backstab. Smart play here by Azure. He's going to wait for the plant, shoots the planter. The bomb is now down. This is all very much possible. Jacob to the rescue, and Glaive having to chime in from Connector, but a little bit late to the party. Tons of time. And for a man that is known for his work, 30 seconds now ticking on the clock. The bomb down there in the open. The crossfire is set up just appropriately. It's going to be Azure and JKM to defend it.
He will get this one-on-one, though, against Azza.
In a perfect world where he runs away with the bomb all the way to the B bomb site. They did read that, though. They did see him escape.
Wow.
And at the very least, he will be getting this bomb down. But it will be up to him to see how he plays this round out. He's going to be playing in a very dangerous spot. They're going to see him early on. Azure coming in with the op blazing, puts a 6th round on the board for Renegades, and that very well could have got difficult for the Renegades in the late round.
Yeah, the 3 Renegades, veterans coming up big right there. I'm going to include Jacob in on that veterans list. He's been in there long enough. JKS with 2 huge frags with that M4 is what really put them in this round.
That is correct. 6-1 on the board here for the Renegades. If you're just joining us, I want to invite you to join us on social media. Using hashtag IEM, let's see how you're watching the game. Let's see what you're up to today. How are you keeping track of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major of 2019? In fact, if you're going to be here in Katowice, if you're going to be joining us for the champion stage, or perhaps even the legend stage, let us know that too. It's all good fun.
Looks like Astralis is about to do a Halls pop right now. Out of Palace, there's going to be 2 players in the middle of the open. It's going to be on Gratisfaction and JKS to hold this down.
First shot coming out there from Gratisfaction, finds a second as well. He's going to prove to be that turret here with the AWP. He's got his work ahead of him, though. They have stopped. Astralis has sort of stalled out in this moment and trying to wait and see if perhaps Renegades give up a pick. And that does not prove to be the case. Jacob coming alive with the AUG, and Device finally eliminating him from the round, but it'll be Gratisfaction that does indeed put the nail in the coffin. And a 7th on the board. Now, I don't want to say, yeah, the boys. I don't want to say come back or anything like that, so I won't.
Look, I've gotten in trouble from doing it before, Trace.
Oh, have you?
I'm not going to say it. I don't even smell it yet. Okay?
You don't smell it yet?
But that was an excellent individual effort right there by Gratisfaction,
Yes.
holding the Palace run out. Very aware of what JKS is holding, what's open. A lot of people would opt, ramp, given his location right there. But obviously JKS has that first eyesight on ramp.
Yeah, Gratisfaction doing huge things there for the side of Renegades as they've now netted themselves a 7th round. And we're going to see one Deagle on the side of Device. And if there's any man in this matchup so far that's proven his worth in terms of statistics and stat padding, it would be Device. So, with 22 frags to his name, he will be the first Iron Man out of the A ramp and trying to find some sort of opening here for Astralis. He hasn't quite noticed the guy there on Firebox. Glaive, Zipex, and Jisk all fall on the other side of the map. Now Dupree in his lonesome Glock duel. Liaz will be eliminating him. So, 8 rounds on the board now for the Renegades on Mirage. 14 for the side of Astralis, and the money looking right yet again for Astralis.
We got the 4 AUGs in play. The Quattro. And
Just
the
more than
AWP
Trace.
on Gratisfaction. All AKs across the board coming in for Astralis. I would probably look for them to, avoid a delayed out mid control without an op, but who knows when you watch Astralis? They have so many creative ways to take the sites.
And that's the cool part about watching Astralis, right? Is like you might think we've seen something innovating, and they've got something just ahead of that too. So it's not like they're ever really showing all of their cards, and I think that's what's always kept them in the very, very tip top here in contention for the absolute best CS:GO team of all time.
And again, the small notes. Those 2 players boosting window, they came from top mid. They didn't come from underpass where they would have been in the sights of that one-way connector.
But Gratisfaction opening the roundup in favor of the Renegades. Now putting that AWP to use again, and Az are going to get involved as well in the fun. So this one has spun around in a 3 versus 5. Device, Glaive, and Zipex left alive here. They're going to have to reformulate, re-strategize, as they have used quite a bit of utility. They have that one smoke in the spot there on the catwalk. Device will be the victim in that equation. Now just 2 members alive. This is a big round for Renegades, having put all 5 down and keeping all 5 alive. Big numbers here, Sean.
Yeah, and they're giving Astralis a taste of their own medicine right now. Dominating the mid control and CT side. Oh my, how the tables have turned.
Yes, how the table turns. And it's not so much water under the fridge, is it, Sean? But yes, yeah, the boys, all that goodness. I'm sure there's a hashtag to follow that along here. But in the meantime, we're going to see the 5 members of Renegades with the weaponry they had last round, full-on utility. And finding a little bit of control in this matchup for the first time. 4 Deagles there on the side of Astralis, and Device with the Glock. Obviously, he wants to go toe-to-toe with this AWPer. You can just feel it coursing through his veins. Liaz maybe not deciding to peek that B Halls area. Probably rightfully so. There's absolutely no reason to give up a pick. A little bit of spam damage there, though, from Azur, though. It's done quite the number on a Magisk, bring him down to 50 health, but Jake pushing up mid, walks right into a crosshair, takes about 40 damage. And what could have been a good bait and switch there for them to try to advance and push on out of middle Gratisfaction would have been...
What certainly would have caught you or I, Trace, does not catch Astralis.
Absolutely not. You know, and of all the matchmaking games ever won, this is a very much different stage. 2-0 here in Legends is a big one. And for the Renegades, this would be a huge scalp to take. JKS, as they call him, Mr. Savage, Justin type.
I like when you just pronounce
Jakus.
letters. Jakus.
Yeah. It's like janky.
It's good.
Not a whole lot here for Astralis to work with in this round. They don't have any utility but 4 Deagles. So shootout at the Mirage Corral could be in order. But when there's Augs alive, like so, and JKS using it to his advantage, Jacob getting the last, and now the fight will carry on. Renegades finding a little bit of rhythm here to their rhyme.
The boys are coming alive here. JKS with 21 frags. We were praising Device at half. He's only at 22, so JKS about to take the lead for frags in this server. And if you're Astralis right now, you've run these standard mid defaults the first couple rounds. This is where you have to bust out something innovative. You have to come with a strat. You have to come with a set piece. It can't be more of the same if you're Astralis. We might get to see something, you know, that they probably didn't think they would have to show in this half because Renegades has forced their hand.
Yeah, Renegades really has come alive here, making this a much tighter scoreline. Again, Astralis not too far from the finish line itself with 14 rounds on the board, but 10 on the side of Renegades now. Will certainly help them as they do look to barrel forward. Now with the op and Device's hand, this could prove to be a turning point.
Yeah, it could. And we have the mid smokes coming here at the start of the round. So the same early round smokes coming out of Astralis, the window smoke and the deep cat smoke, but they're not fighting for mid control here.
No, they are not. Glaive trying to look around, through, underneath, behind the smoke. Just not going to be happening, not today.
It looks like they might be trying to sell a B fake late round with the wall of smokes B and then maybe a scrim out A.
Right. Well, that smoke has dissipated on the A ramp.
And sure enough, yeah, I think Device threw the second smoke from T-spawn, and now he's running all the way back around to A, and Renegades is biting. There's 4 players at this B site.
Yeah, they forced JKS out of position there, called for the rotation, and it has proven to be fatal. They're going to be walking out onto this A site, and perhaps Jacob can peek the planner right now. Would have been perfect timing, just a little too late. However, the bomb does go down. Now Jacob Gratisfactionally as trying to keep Astralis from grabbing tie point. 15th round on the board. Trying to get some kills from a distance at first. Looks like they do want to kind of close on this. They do have the money to play with. Jacob making things possible. 3v3 right now. The retake is on. Jacob pushing all the way out on the site. He's going to get swung by Glaive. Glaive can't do anything. There's nothing that can be done here. Magisk now all on his lonesome. 46 HP, AK in his hand. But that bomb is ticking ever so fast. Finds one Liaz with the frag, and he's going to get on it. And that, my friends, is going to be a defuse. And an 11th round on the board for the Renegades. Cutting it close. But my goodness, Sean Gares, would you believe it had I told you?
You smell that, Trace?
Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening. They're coming back into this game. I think Astralis just busted out a very, very pocket strat that should have won them that round.
Yeah.
Zipix with the plant in the open, dying right with the plant. Glaive running around all over the site looking for frags. Couldn't find anything, but most importantly, Jacob's frag on Device at the ramp.
Yeah. Woo. And you know, just a millisecond earlier, he would have stopped the plant too, which made a whole different ball game of that round to play out. And as the story is told, we do have another gun round here on Astralis. They do have AKs out. A little bit of utility to match that, so they can get a little bit of movement here, and they're gonna find themselves in middle with no contest. Waiting these smokes out. Find some nades over there towards the A site. Try to take connector control, and Jacob's going to be that first point of contact. JKS coming alive as well. Now 3 members alive here for Astralis. Device, Magisk, and Xipnix. And my goodness, this is starting to look dangerous for Astralis. JKS again with the AUG. And Device in a very, very unorthodox position there. Magisk can only find one. And, well, they're going to sniff Device out, and that's going to be another one on the round for the boys. It's 14-12, Sean Gares. How do you feel about that?
I'm starting to feel like a believer, Trace. Astralis, if they buy here, it is not a good buy. We're likely going to see a pistol force where they leave enough money in the bank for the following round. If they lose this round, though, it's 14-13, and we have a ball game.
Let me paint a picture for you, Mr. Gares. The year is 2019. We're at 2-0 in the Legends stage. And the Renegades are currently, and their form, and the way that this is starting to shape up, giving Astralis a run for their money.
Surely Chaddy Birchill is coaching them.
Surely Chad Birchill is somewhere around here having a conniption, not knowing what to do with his hands or his hair, as usual. But in this round, we're going to see 2 CZs and 3 Deagles on the side of Astralis. Now, they do have a little bit of utility to work with and some armor, so it's going to be a little bit heavier of a hit, and it's going to be on the A side. They have elected to use all of their smokes at this point.
This is a retake setup from Renegades, so... Oh, but Jacob drops into Sandwich. Uh-oh. He's in a very vulnerable position here.
He is. He's got to find one. He does find 2. He's going to look for the 3rd guy there, and Palace can't seem to find him because he didn't peek in time. And Magisk is going to end that threat in Jacob. Now with the smoke still deployed, there is a little bit of a screen here for Astralis to sort of move out in this site and maybe take some fights rather than fight in the open, and that Molotov is going to prove to be detrimental there to Magisk. Zipex the only one alive, 13-14, yeah, the boys.
Yeah, and I'm so impressed by their CT side and how they're running around the map. They're rotating so well. They're reading the situations correctly. And I believe the reason why Jacob wasn't fracked right there in that spot was because he got a flash from one of his teammates going towards the Tetris box. So just honestly excellent teamwork coming out of the boys.
Yep. And the story here, John Lennon. Of course, that's not really John Lennon, but I can see where they're going with that one. Do kind of get a chuckle out of that one. Very tense situation, though. Renegades 1 round away from tying this one up. And in this moment, they're very much capable of it. They do have the ball rolling. They do have the momentum here, and they have found it on their CT side, nonetheless. It appears, though, the things that Astralis are throwing at them are not really going the way of Astralis.
You can see the boys have finally relaxed a little bit. They're taking the duels that they've been taking the entire event. This is the team we expected to see.
Gratisfaction catching the pass there. That was the smoke into the mid window. Timed to perfection, not sure if intentional. So kind of a weird flex, but nonetheless, just working their way up there through that underpass, and it seems like they want to fight here in mid again. They want to bring this battle into middle. It's been something in the first half that was on the cards, but here in the second half, it's been a little bit less of a contest. Device having this AWP, and the posturing is now set up so that really Astralis can sort of pivot, but there's no one here to find this opening frag on the A side or even on the B side of the map. This is going to work out into a weird one, Sean.
Yeah, Astralis can take this to either site, and we see that lurk right now in T-spawn. I believe that's Zipex. He could easily fall towards B at any moment right now. So it looks right now, based on his position, they're going to end at the A bomb site. But it could go either way.
It most certainly could, and they're just going to wait here in middle. They know that the smoke's going to dissipate and will leave them pretty exposed. Gratisfaction doesn't want to give them that satisfaction by peeking and being punished, but that Molotov's going to force him off. Cat Jacob with the AUG now, having stopped Glaive, and a little bit of a read is on. Azur jumping out of the window. This is going to be a big, big problem there if he can push up a connector, finding the second frag, and Magisk the only one to find there in the A site. So Azur having done loads in this round, leaving Zipex by himself. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is certainly not how you could have forecasted it. Nothing that Zipex can do in this situation. Gratisfaction closing the round in 14-14. You wanted a ball game, Mr. Garrett, I gave you one.
Yes, indeed. We thought this game was over, Trace, but you know what? It was all a mirage, because here we have the boys.
Yes.
Bringing it back. I believe they might have 9 rounds in a row. 9 rounds in a row to bring it to 14-14. Astralis on the back foot on a pistol force.
Now, if anybody's following the simulation, that is the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major. I don't remember reading this in the script, so perhaps I might have missed that script reading day for what it's worth, but now with 5 CZs, Astralis know what is on the line here. And what
another good read out of Renegades. 3 people at the B bomb site right now for this execute.
That's right, they're gonna barrel on out right now. They're trying to take this B site with force, and it's gonna be Lias to find the opener. Gratisfaction there to support, and they're just gonna run right into the crosshairs right about now. And I can tell you, as it stands, Renegades have indeed done it. They have potentially shocked us all. 15-14 the score line here. This one has indeed gone the full distance. Astralis not having the answers. Mr. Gers, do you have the answer?
I do not have the answer. Renegades put in Astralis right in that little Joey pouch. I don't know the name for the pouch.
But I do know the pouch.
In the pouch like a little Joey. And they're being brought to this L, Trace.
They are indeed. And And this will be the big test right here. All the purchasing power on the line. It's time to knuck if you're Buck. because the crime mob of the Renegades are here, and the first bit of damage has been done onto Glaive. He has taken significant damage to the AWP of Gratisfaction, who wants to challenge there in that connector. But, well, for what it's worth, we do have a little bit of a stalling here now. Dupree worked his way up Catwalk, finding the kill on Azur in the back, and the immediate response from Liaz there is crucial. Very big kill for Liaz to stay alive. And that op battle was quite awkward. Unfortunately, it would appear as though Device has gotten the better of Gratisfaction. Now Liaz really out in the open, and this has started to crumble in the way of Astralis. You do hate to see it.
Oh.
Jacob ringing the alarms there in the back lines, and I think he has a hint that Glaive is going to be waiting in the TV room.
He has the bomb, though, so he has to run.
This has all really gotten weird in what is now the 15-15 showing of Renegades versus Astralis. Ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't believe it if I made it up, but I didn't, and it's going to overtime.
That right there is why Astralis has become the best team in the world from their previous forms where they couldn't choke, or they would choke and they couldn't close out matches. That round, you just see Dupree take the gloves off, just walk right through the smoke. They didn't have the courage to make those plays back in the day, but now they're feared because they can flip the switch and just immediately go into that form where they don't care.
Unreal. And that's right, that would be Lurpus there. Rip everyone's pick'em if Astralis winds up losing this. Well, shout out Tommy. 15-15 though.
Taking a break from Tesla tweets.
Yes,
I see.
Indeed he has. Nice change of pace, sort of like the pace that we're seeing now. Even weaponry, as we do go into overtime. If you're just joining us, you picked the perfect time. Renegades taking Astralis to the brink here. In what is a best-of-3 series overall, but this first map win could be huge. And a big statement for what the Renegades have done here in the first 2 kills of the round going in their favor. Absolutely no ground held, or gained, I should say there, until now. Device and Glaive finding frags, trying to even things up. 12 HP on the Glaive, and the Molotov being thrown there onto the catwalk and the archway. This hit's kind of stalled. They know that if they go for the plant now, they know if they try to move a little bit this, there, and the other, it's going to be punished. Sort of like that. Device finding a miraculous kill. And in fact, it's Jacob to take down Glaive. Device left in jail all by himself. And Jacob ending out the round, and it could be, Mr. Gares, it very well could be.
Indeed, I would heavily favor Renegades right now. There is nothing Astralis has done so far on this T side that makes me feel like they're the better team on Mirage.
Yeah.
This is such a different ballgame than what we saw on the first half. And if I'm being honest, I feel like if I go back to that first half, if I'm Renegades, at this point, I have a couple solutions. I didn't get that many gun rounds. I was force spying. I thought I needed more rounds than I actually did. I would favor Renegades from here.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly had the ball rolling in their favor this entire time. I mean, if you look at that second half, it's been nothing short of a steamroll there for the Renegades. But Glaive has something different to say about that. He's going to find the opening kill on a Gratisfaction there with the AWP, and he's falling off now. There will be no contest in mid this day.
Should have seen it. I should have seen Glaive taking the op and going get a mid pick. Silly me.
Yeah, where were you, Sean? Did you not read the script, man? I just got to ask.
This team has so many tricks up their sleeve. And now, look, though, Renegades is reading this correctly again. 2 players in the A bomb site, 1 rotating ticket, the 4th guy playing ladder room.
Yeah, you couldn't write this if I tried. Dupree finding 2 huge frags here and giving a little bit of hope to Astralis. It has been otherwise a dismal showing in the second half. Glaive coming alive as well. And that round came off the hinges for Renegades. Letting one slip away will give us a 16-16 scoreline. And we could talk about the economy game, Mr. Gares, and perhaps why it is that even with the higher start money in overtime, that Azur would elect to save.
I don't think he necessarily, actually kind of should, yeah, because, I mean, he wants that AWP going into the next round. He would be actually a little bit pressed for cash right now, with only a $1,400 bonus after this round. So he needs to save this AWP if they want an absolute perfect full buy. That's just Astralis, though, brute forcing their way into that A site. I don't think Renegades, should hang their heads on what they did that round. I think they were set up very well. Astralis just hit incredible entry frags.
And the thing for the Renegades, too, is you got to hope that perhaps they don't find that sort of emotional roller coaster. Yes, you've lost 1 round, and yes, this is overtime. You are certainly still in the fight. And for what it's worth, 16-16 now. The Renegades testing Astralis and everything that they're made of. The best team of 2018, and Looking to cement that going into 2019 here at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major.
Here we have that same top mid smoke that Astralis was throwing all first half. Renegades taking a page out the Danes playbook. But Astralis not respecting it at all. Device already out top mid, waiting for this connector peek from Gratis Faction. And he might get cut off.
He might. He just might. Renegades trying to hold on to what they can here in mid, but they don't want to expose themselves too much. They don't want to find themselves out there and up the creek without a paddle. It looks like Astralis with that bomb set up there in the B side heavily. We'll be backing off a little bit. Device, having lost this battle early on, now puts numbers in favor of the Renegades, but still Astralis tried to climb out, slide out, grime out here in the middle area. Waiting for any sort of slip up here from the Renegades. Very patient play by the Renegades, and Liaz giving himself very good positioning for that frag on the Gist there in the B halls. Utility now will start to rain across the map. They're gonna have to start making a decision as we approach that 45-second marker. And Glaive having found an opener, Jacob replying on the opposite side of the connector. So now Glaive, 22 HP, and Zipex, well, dare I say it's all gone wrong. It's just Zipex here. He does have the AUG, so let's not discount him yet. 2 flashes, a Molotov, in under 30 seconds. With the bomb in hand, he does have that sort of freedom of can he open up a site, but I don't think Liaz spotted him. Perhaps did. They did call for the rotation, it looks like.
Do feel like he's about due for one of these.
Yeah, I think it's about time we get to see some of this to the stars magic here. Zipex unaware of this player still in sight, and it's not even going to be him that gets the kill. Renegades finding 17 here. And they are really doing it to Astralis right now, Mr. Garris.
They are. And you can see Kassad actually in the ear of Azza. They have to find something that works. They struggled so much on that opening half of the game.
Yeah.
Let's not forget they won the pistol and the following round, and that's how they ended up with 2 of their 4 rounds in that first half. So they're going to have to reevaluate how they approach these early rounds because their mid control was not working.
Now again, this is overtime. So if you're joining us watching Counter-Strike for the first time, this is 1st to 19 in overtime number 1. And as we rounded out that first half, Renegades, the heavy underdog in this matchup at least, 17-16 versus Astralis. They want to fight in mid this round. It's going to be a battle. It feels as though it could even be a bloodbath. A lot of utility used there, and again, we see that smoke come out from Astralis, stopping any sort of aggression and push, but they're going to go through it this time. That's going to be a much different play and a much different look from the Renegades. Finding 2 is Azur. And Dupree waiting for the smoke to fade here in middle. Looks for 1, does in fact land it on the Gratis Faction before he's planted against the wall by Dupree. Excuse me, Liaz. This is going to be a real awkward exchange here. Smokes, radars, none of that into play today because Azur coming out on top with his 3rd big kill in the round. And Device with the AWP by himself at the A bomb site. It's a no-brainer. The Renegades have elected to go towards B. They will be getting the plant down. And, well, this is where things get weird.
Can you believe it, Trace?
No.
They have 2 chances now to win this game. Renegades have Astralis against the ropes. They're going to have 18 rounds. Device will carry this AWP into the next round. And yes, Astralis will have a fantastic buy because this is overtime and they have this strong economy.
But the cushion's gone.
But the cushion is gone, exactly. And they cannot afford any mistakes from here on out. An excellent change of pace from Renegades.
You can hear the crowd there getting a little bit excited. And they want to hunt down Device, it seems. They want to find him. They want to take this op from him, and they might do it. Azur's been feeling himself all around. He's not going to be feeling too well after that op shot. Device landing it. And they're going to try to kill him, but ultimately are just going to have 2 casualties. Jacob and Liaz, just making up names now at this point. Staying alive.
Liam Nelson.
Liam Neeson.
Something like
Liam
that.
Nelson, also a distant cousin, I'm sure, of Neeson's, but a couple times removed, over. But the timeout now, very, very, very crunch moment here for the Renegades. 18-16, and remember, the magic number is 19. If the Renegades can seal this round, they have done what I think many would claim to be the impossible.
Man, when you look at them, they're so calm. They're so it's almost like they expected this to happen. Such a new team to this stage. I don't want to say they're young because they're not. They've been around the block, but they haven't made it this far in a major ever.
And the weird thing is here too, we can see the sort of composure and that we expect Astralis to have, but Big Papa Bear behind him is really quiet. He's not saying much. We don't see him animated. We don't see him activated. Of course, if the flu talk is true, then
Yes, patient 0 at this event.
yes, the T-Virus now come in the form of mid-aggression. It's going to be 5 AKs there for the Renegades as they try to take this map. Steal one away from Astralis in this best of 3.
You can see the 2 Ts right now lining up a smoke for top, mid, and window. And this is what I praised them for earlier in this game. The late mid control, making Astralis waste all of their utility early. Device gonna lose his sight. He might be able to get someone jumping out to the boxes though.
He might do it. Device set up in a really good spot there, and yeah, in fact, does find that frag. So this one has turned around just a little bit in the way of Astralis. Now, they're wanting to pump the brakes though. Again, the cushion is off. This is map point for Renegades here in the opener of the best of 3, 19 being that number. And for the momentum that the Renegades has had, it would not surprise me at all if they were to find success right about now. They have taken connector control, and it looks like they're going to want to take all of A as a whole. They do have JKS there on the ramp by himself. And it would appear as though maybe Liaz just barely skated by, but all of this damage, and well, they've read it to perfection. JKS with the peak of a lifetime on the Device, punishing him. But for what it's worth, that will be absolutely fruitless unless Liaz can really do something special here. He finds 2 and down to 12 HP. He does have an AK and 20 seconds to work with. He doesn't know where that second player is. He's already spotted one there on the ramp, having to go for the bomb. That time ticking down ever so preciously. He doesn't know that they're both there. He's going to have to stick this plant. It's going to be a real awkward sort of exchange, and finds the first kill. Not going to be enough time for him to plant. He's going to have to concede the round. And Astralis still in this fight.
Wow. If Astralis didn't play that situation perfectly where Zipic stayed in spawn, there was definitely a world where Liaz wins that 1-on-4. Astralis keeping their composure even in the toughest of times, and that's what makes them the #1 team in the world.
I mean, in a weird way, I think there's a real world where Liaz wins that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that would mess that up and have both players push out a spawn right there when he fakes the plant.
But with the veterancy of Astralis reigning supreme, and they're not going to give up this mid area. That smoke has proved to be the wall built up there that the Renegades can't necessarily push past. The one time that we did see that a few rounds ago, it did prove to be successful. I don't think that they can bank on that, however. And in this moment, Liaz maybe trying to sell something here at B. Has used a little bit of utility.
He's forced
and they
to
have
rotate.
called quite a rotation here. That's absolutely right, Mr. Gares. Glaive set up there, watching the connector as best he can. Magisk now at the ticket. They have forced Astralis a little bit out of position, but they don't want to put all their eggs in the basket thus far. Magisk falls. Another player falls in Glaive. Now the Renegades on the cusp, looking to close this one out. It's going to be Dupree with the reply. The bomb will be planted there. The Renegades can taste the round. The Renegades know how close they are, and it's now all come down to Zipex. AUG in hand, kit in hand, with the smoke on the catwalk area. My goodness, nothing can be done, and the Renegades have upset Astralis in map 1 of this series, taking them to overtime, 19-17 your score. And yeah, the boys, Sean
Can you believe it? These 5 guys have not lost a map so far this major. No one saw this coming.
Absolutely.
We're going to Nuke, Trace.
Yeah, Nuke is going to be the real test. If they were to somehow pull that miraculous sort of comeback all the way from the second half and just keep that momentum rolling into Nuke, that would be the true testament as to what these Renegades are capable of. But I think in this moment we do have some members of this here analyst desk and hosts that are very much prepared to take this one away and make some sense of what it is that we just saw.